Hey everybody! Koricon here, and this is my review of Mersal. It's a Tamil film directed by Atli Kumar and is starring Joseph Vijay, Samantha Ruth Prabhu, Padivalu, Suraya, and Kajal Agarwal. So the first part of this review is going to be spoiler free, because there is a lot of information that can spoil this movie for you that I still wanted to talk about. I will get into that into a spoiler section that I will let you know before we do it. So if you haven't seen the movie, you can click away at that point. Usually when I go over just the plot summary, I read the IMDb because they word it usually very well, except the IMDb synopsis for this movie has some spoilers in it. So if you do not want to be spoiled on anything, I would highly suggest not reading that until after you've seen the film. But basically, Mersal is a vigilante genre mixed with an anagnorisis or a plot twist kind of film and a touch of mystery in there. The movie is meant to be vague in the beginning and then release information throughout the film until the full picture comes in and unfolds. Mersal was almost 3 hours long, and it didn't feel like 3 hours, which is a good thing. I was engaged with the story and wanting to know what was going to happen next. However, the love story with Tara, the character Tara played by Samantha, wasn't really needed because it didn't go anywhere. It was just there in the beginning to give Vijay a love story, but I think if they were going to include it, they should have had more for her to do by the end of the film. But they just kind of had the love story in the beginning and then pretty much just dropped it. Some of the plot twists in the film were not needed because they weren't a surprise. They were set up ahead of time already, so when it happened you weren't surprised by it. And because they were filmed as plot twists, it kind of took away from some of the major plot twists that were in the film, and so it didn't have as great an impact. Some of the plot twists had little to no impact on the viewer because we were just wondering when it was going to happen. For our characters and acting, Vijay did a great job, but I will get into that into the spoiler section because some of the things with his character would be very spoiler heavy. Samantha also did a good job with the character that they gave her, but Tara's character was just adequate because she was a stereotypical love interest that didn't have much to do and not really needed for the overall story. But it didn't distract from the story either. They still had some nice elements in there, and I think Samantha did a good job with the character they gave her. So I would like to see her in other films. I think she's a good actor. I just think the character they gave her was not that big a deal. Padivalu did some great comic relief. I like that actor. He can make me smile with just a look. His expressions are funny. He's a good character actor, and I think he would be a good addition to just about any movie. I also really liked him in Mudhalven. Surya also did a very good job as the villain, which was a very over-the-top villain, which is how he was written. But I think the character would have had a much better impact if he was likable and manipulative character that was revealed to be a villain as a plot twist. I loved the character of Vetrumaran's wife, Anupallavi. She was a strong personality with a great playful nature that made her very endearing for me. The kind of woman that any man would be lucky to be married to, except she wants way too many children. But I loved her character. I thought she was great, and she was a part of my favorite part of the story. I liked the relationship between her and Vetrumaran. They played off each other very well, and some of my favorite sequences. We had 4 song and dance numbers in this movie. The first one was a song called Macho. It was a catchy pop song. I'm not a fan of much pop music, so it was just okay for me. But I can see that many people will love it, and it fit the scene well by being playful and gave our characters a fun dance sequence. The second song was Mersal Arsan. Very fun, upbeat song with lots of energy, good for a lively celebratory dance sequence, and the kids were a good touch. Our third song in the movie was Ste A. It was a good mood music for a slower love song. I really liked the vocals and the string instrumental parts. I'm not sure which string instrument was used, but it sounded really good. But I don't think that love story with Tara was needed, so the song was good but extraneous. And our fourth song and dance sequence, our fourth song was Alaporan Thamazan. And I loved this song. This was my favorite song. I loved the drums, the fun festival aspects of it. It had the best dance sequence and visuals. Also helped that it involved my favorite characters and section of the story, and this was the song that I was listening to on repeat while I was writing my review. So this was my favorite one. I don't think that it's going to be the favorite for most people. I think the second song will be, but for me, this was my favorite one. For the background music, A.R. Rahman really knows his stuff. And the background music supported the tone, the characters, and the emotion of the scenes. Except for the heavy metal song that was played whenever Dr. Daniel was being villainous. I love heavy metal and would love to listen to that song on its own because I liked the way it sounded. But the tonal shift was too stark in the film and would abruptly start and then end within a few seconds. So our scene would be like calm or just kind of going around and all of a sudden and then go back again. And it was just too stark of a change. I think if they wanted to play some heavy metal music during his villainous times, that it could have been a lesser heavy metal song, something that's flowed nicer with the rest of the sequences before and after. But the song that they chose was just a little too heavy, and that's weird for me to say because I love heavy metal music. For the magic and action scenes, like I said during my trailer reactions, I love the set design of the magic warehouse where VJ is working on all of his magic tricks. It was a great set design. I loved the way it looked. It was very busy, had a lot of stuff in there, and I liked watching him work on those magic tricks. About 75% of the magic was practical, but there were a few scenes that they used CGI magic, and I wasn't a fan of those parts. Many of them weren't needed, as they added nothing to the scene, and there were a couple of them that I can see why they did it, and it was needed for the scene, but for the others, I don't see why they had to do that. I would not have used any CGI magic unless it was absolutely necessary in those, like, 2 or 3 scenes that it was. Practical magic looked great, and VJ did a great job making it look good. There were a couple of tricks where his sleight of hand wasn't the best, but he did a very good job in the little time that he had to learn these tricks, and I commend him on that. There was one fun action sequence where he used magic to beat up the bad guys, and I liked that sequence. It kind of reminded me of something that Jackie Chan would do if he was fighting people with magic tricks. It was silly at times, but very fun, and I enjoyed that scene. For the rest of the action, I didn't mind the slow-mo or over-the-top elements. They weren't too over-the-top, because that is part of the masala genre. However, many of the action scenes had too many edits and close-ups. I would have liked longer cuts, maybe pull the camera back a little bit. For directing and cinematography, the cinematography was very good. The colors popped, lighting was great, it showcased the set design very well and matched the emotions of other scenes. Directing supported the story. I didn't notice anything wrong with the directing. Kumar did a good job of keeping the flow of scenes moving with very little visual distraction. But the pacing was slowed down during the love story with Tara that I didn't think that was needed, but I understand why it's in there. It's a part of the masala genre, and a lot of people like that stuff. They want that. I just personally didn't think it was needed. So to wrap up, I really enjoyed the movie. Great characters in a story that engaged the attention of the viewers. There was an extraneous love story with Tara. The villain was a little too villainous. almost cartoony at times. I would have liked it better if he was more subtle and likable, to where we weren't sure if he was bad until it was revealed in a major plot twist. I think that would have had a much better impact. The music was good, the songs were good, and it was very well shot. I'm going to give Mersal a grade of a B+. I really liked this movie. It had some good characters, good story. It touched on a lot of good elements. So this is where I'm going to get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, click off of this, go watch it, come back and watch the second part of this review. But you've been warned, let's go into some spoilers. So the major spoiler that IMDb gives away, that the filmmakers gave away in the media, not in the trailers though, was that VJ is playing 3 characters. Marin, who is a doctor, his younger brother, Vitri, and the father, Vitramarin. Now, the fact that there is a younger brother named Vitri is a spoiler, because in the film they set it up to where in the beginning it's kind of vague. All you see is Marin, and some things happen where you're like, huh, that's kind of odd why he would do that. It doesn't seem like something he would do. And then after a while, then they have a reveal that there is a younger brother. The impact of that plot twist was taken away by just mentioning that he played 3 characters. So I would have preferred that they kept that a secret during the filming and not told anybody that he would be playing 3 characters and just let us enjoy that during the film. If you're going to give that information away, you might as well not make it a plot twist in the film, because it's no longer a surprised plot twist. We're expecting it. We're just waiting for it to happen. Now, VJ did a very good job with all 3 characters by making them distinct characters, so that the audience could tell who we were watching just by facial expressions and physical mannerisms of how he holds himself. You could really tell if you're the father or one of the 2 sons and which 2 sons they are. So he did a good job of, without any dialogue, being able to just let you know which character he is playing just by seeing him. The trailers did a very good job of not giving away any of the plot twists. However, like I said, the filmmakers and the media gave away a lot of the plot twists by just mentioning VJ playing the 3 characters. A couple of the other things I just wanted to point out. In the airport scene was a bit cliche, but it had a great line about racism in there that made the entire sequence worth it. So after being racially profiled in the French airport, he was searched in a humiliating manner, and some woman that he sees through the glass looking down, she starts choking. And so he, breaks free and runs down there and saves her by performing a tracheotomy to bypass the blockage, her airway. You do a cut right here, and you put a straw or a hollow tube of some kind into the lung or the trachea, and then blow air in there until they start breathing. But something that I noticed, it's not a big deal. It doesn't hurt the movie in any way. But after she starts breathing, he pulls the straw out. Now, the point of doing a tracheotomy is that there's a blockage right here. So you have to bypass that. So if you do a tracheotomy to allow them to breathe, you have to keep the straw in there so they can keep breathing. Otherwise, you just blocked it again. So you have to keep it in there until that person can go into surgery to have the blockage removed and the repair of the trachea. After he saves the woman, the security guys are apologizing and giving him his stuff back and saying, "We didn't know who you were. My problem. I'm so sorry about that." And he says a really great line to them in Tamil. He says, "If my language and appearance irks you, then you're the one who needs to change, not me." And I love that line because it is perfect for, the whole entire situation of racism. That if you're going to profile me because of my language and the way that I look, then that's your problem. That is not my problem. I enjoyed that. I thought it was a great line, and it stuck with me. Another thing I wanted to point out was during the mother's death scene, Anu Pallavi. When she dies, Atlee Kumar, the director, had a great decision that impressed me, that I really liked, by not playing any music and removing all sound except for Vetrimaran's voice begging for his wife not to leave him as she died in his arms. I think the fact that they played no music and everything was quiet except for Vetrimaran's voice, that was made the scene so much more impactful emotionally, and I loved that decision. I thought it was great. Those were just some of the points that I wanted to talk about in the spoiler section, just because they popped out at me and I wanted to share them with you. But you guys let me know what you noticed, what you liked, what you didn't like. There was a bit of controversy around this film because they do talk about how the government hospitals are corrupt, and the point of the whole movie is the storyline of vigilante against some of the doctors that have taken advantage of their position, and people are dying under their care. Our main villain is one of the doctors that does that, turning these private hospitals into money machines, basically, and just gouging the people. So there was a little bit of controversy as some politicians were asking the filmmakers to remove parts of the dialogue and sections of scenes. There's a viral video going around right now of a speech that VJ does near the end of the movie. I'm one of those people that is totally against censorship in any way. Now, although it was a little bit of a controversy, the filmmakers are not going to edit the movie. They're not going to take that scene out. They're not going to appease that one politician that was like asking for this. They're just going to have to deal with the fact that, you know, the movie doesn't like the way that hospitals are run and medical care is provided to the people. It's their opinion. They're allowed to have it. If you don't like it as a politician, then you need to change your policies. But other than that, you're just going to have to deal with it. So I have links to some articles in the description below if you want to read up on some of that controversy, and let me know your thoughts on it as well. So comment below, let me know what you think of the movie. Don't really want to get too much into the controversy because I think it was blown out of proportion. It was just one politician that was complaining about it, and the filmmakers are not going to edit the movie. So I'm not worried about that at all. It was just a little bit. But let me know your thoughts on everything. What did you like? What did you not like? What do you agree with me? What do you disagree with me? Keep it civil down there. Let's just have a discussion. I also have links to all of my stuff in the description below as well, so check that out. Social medias, Mailbox to mail me stuff, Patreon. I've got a list of movies that I'm going to be reviewing for past movies that's down there, along with some other stuff. Whatever, there's a bunch of things down there. If you're on VidMe, upvote this, give me a follow and share it around. And if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. And I will see you on the next video.